Good morning, students. Welcome back to the English Channel Prime. Students, in the last class, we have completed the explanation on the history, chapter 4, Tribal Society and the Challenge of Colonialism. And we have also completed the projects on the music, dance, society and culture of our Indian tribes. We have also done the map activity locating the sites of the tribal communities. Now in this session, let's start doing the exercise. So open page number 46. Let's start with the objective type questions. First question A, multiple choice type questions. First question, the tribes who moved from one place to another were called as dash. Yes, it is option A, pastoral tribes. Second question, the British government passed this act to control the movement of nomadic tribes. Which act it was? Yes, it is Criminal Tribes Act. Question number 3, the Santals revolt took place between, yes, it is option C, 1855 to 1857. Fourth question, the Cookies were the inhabitants of these hills. Which hill it is? Yes, it is Lusai Hills, option A. Fifth question, the Maasai community of cattle herders belong to dash. Yes, it is A, Africa. Question B, unscramble the letters in the help box and fill in the blanks. First question, in the tribal language, shifting cultivation was called as, yes, it is called as Zoom. Next, the second question, the British branded the pastoral nomadic tribes as dash, as criminals. Third question, the leader of the Munda revolt was, yes, it is option C, that is Birsa Munda. Fourth question, in order to graze their animals in the forest, the pastoral tribes needed a dash, it is they need a permit. Fifth question, the tribals have left behind dash and dash retailing their acts of heroism against the British. Yes, they left behind their folk songs and the folk tales. Done. Now see, state whether the following statements are true or false. First question, the British regarded the settled tribal groups as more civilized than the mobile groups. Is it true? Yes, it is true. Question number 2, the British stopped shifting cultivation and as a result, many tribal groups were displaced from the forest. Yes, it is true. Third question, the Mundas, who were the settled cultivators, were deprived of their ownership of land. Yes, it is true. Now, second main, very short answer questions. Let's do. The first question, what was the main occupation of the tribal people in 19th century? Answer, the main occupation of the tribal people in 19th century was shifting cultivation. Second question, name the 3 tribes which were leading settled life in India. Answer, the 3 tribes which were leading settled life in India were first the Santals, second the Mundas and third the Gonda. Third question, define the term reserved forest. Answer, reserve forests were those forests from which the villagers could not take anything even for their own use. Fourth question, name the place and the year when Khasi's revolt started. Answer, Khasi's revolt started in Assam in 1829. Fifth question, name a few things that the tribals collected from the forest and sold to get money to buy other things. Answer, a few things that the tribals collected from the forest and sold to get money to buy other things were herbs, animals, fruits, roots and resins. Done, children? Now third main short answer questions. First question, how was shifting cultivation practiced by the tribes? Answer, the tribes cleared a small place of land or patch of land by burning the vegetation on it. They used the ash as fertilizer to cultivate this land, sowed the seeds and harvested the crop. Then they shifted to another piece of land, allowing the earlier land to regain its fertility by leaving it abandoned for some time. This practice is called shifting agriculture. In India, it is called as Jhu. Done. Second question. What was jhum cultivation? How was it carried out? Answer. It was a kind of cultivation practiced in the forest areas where the tribes used a piece of land by burning its vegetation to gather manure. Once the crop was harvested here, they left this piece of land as it became infertile and shipped it to another place to clear other piece of land for cultivation. This shifting agriculture is locally called jhum. In India, it is practiced in the northeastern states. Third question. Why did the Santals and Mundas attack the moneylenders and Jamindars? Answer. The Santals and Mundas were settled cultivators. They were deprived of their ownership of land. They wanted their rights on the land which belonged to their ancestors. They were forced to become tenants of the Jamindars who charged them high rents. They had to borrow money from the money lenders at a very high rate of interest. They wanted to get rid of the control of the Jamindars, so they attacked the Jamindars. Fourth question. Give a brief account of the revolt of Khons in Odisha. Answer. The Khons were the tribals of Odisha. They led a primitive life. They feared that the Britishers would take away their land and their rights. They revolted against the Britishers in 1846. The revolt was suppressed in 1848 and they had to surrender to the Britishers. Fifth question. Why did the tribals rebel against the British rule? Answer. The tribals rebelled against the British rule because they feared that their land would be annexed by the Britishers and they would be forced to adopt other occupation. They opposed outside entry into their areas. Next question, fourth main long answer questions. Let's do. First question. How was the Santal revolt a powerful protest against the British? Answer. The Santals were the settled cultivators. Their lands were taken away by the Britishers and they were forced to become the tenants of the Jamindars, who charged high rents from them. They had to borrow money from the moneylenders, who charged high rate of interest. They were frustrated. They revolted against the British and the moneylenders in 1855, which continued for 2 years. The revolt spread over a large area. It compelled the Britishers to give some concessions to the Santals. The Britishers promised that in future the cultivators would not be exploited. Done. Second question. How was the life of the pastoral nomads badly affected under the British rule? Answer. The pastoral nomads moved from place to place in search of food for their cattle. Their migration depended upon the change of season. The Britishers passed the Forest Acts, dividing the forest in 3 categories, that is, reserved forest, protected forest, and village forest. Due to the Forest Act, the pastoral nomads could not graze their cattle in the forest. They had to take permit for entering the forest. If they stayed for more than the permitted time, they had to pay fine. They were considered to be criminals. Under the Criminal Tribes Act, they were not allowed to change their place and were forced to live in notified village settlements. Done. Third question. How did the British Forest Acts affect the life of tribals in India? Answer. The British forest laws badly affected the life of these people, of the tribal people in India. Forest Acts forbid these people to use forest for their purposes. The shifting cultivation was also banned. Nomads now could not enter forest for grazing their animals. For some activities, permission was sought, but if they stayed for more than the specified period, they had to pay fine. They had to give bribes to the forest guards too. So they are exploited. Fourth question. State any 4 changes which were brought in the life of tribal people by the British rule. Answer. The British rule brought many changes in the life of the tribal people. A few of these changes were: first, many restrictions were put on their activities in connection with the forest. Second, they could not use some forest or reserved forest for taking wood, grazing cattle, collecting fruit and roots. Third point, they were not permitted to practice shifting cultivation. And fourth, they could not hunt in the forest. Fifth question, what was Birsa Munda's contribution in Munda Revolt? What were its effects? Answer, Munda Revolt. Munda Revolt took place in 1899 to 90. It was led by Birsa Munda. The Munda belonged to the Bihar Jharkhand region. The aim of the revolt was to establish Munda Raj, headed by Birsa Munda. They wanted to free themselves from the oppressive British rule. The main target of attack of the people were the British officials, the zamindars, missionaries, and the moneylenders. Landlords had taken away their land. Though the revolt was suppressed and Birsa was captured, the outcome of the revolt was good as Mundas were given some concessions. They were given back their traditional rights on their land. The official promised not to harass the people. Sixth question. The British enacted laws to exploit the forest resources in India to their benefit, but the tribals rebelled at many places. Why? Answer. Before the colonial rule, the tribals lived freely in the forest. They collectively used the forest resources without any restrictions. So, when the British tried to curb their freedom, the tribals rebelled at many places all over India. They wanted their forest back into their control and had become tired of the atrocities of the British agents. It was the restriction imposed on the forest, its categorization into different classes, exploitation by the local agents, sense of losing their age-old wealth, etc., that compelled the tribals to rebel against the British and their agents. Done, children? Hope all of you understood. Complete the activities. Thank you.